one night on their way home, she seen something she ain't like when she went through his phone. Is this why you said that it's hard to take care of me? You wasn't gonna say you got a whole family? I don't understand how you think this fair to me. I've been sharing you, but you ain't been sharing me. Why won't you answer me? But he's thinking carefully. He tried to calm her down, don't get hype. Couldn't diffuse the situation and they started the fight. He made a wrong turn, then a left and a right. Now they was in a wooded area with not much light. How did all this go wrong? It was such a good night. Said she's gonna tell the bishop out of anger and spite. He said it's not a good idea to cause me this much strife. He should've told the truth and every lie got a price. But if it comes down to my wife, it's gonna be your life. Good night.
Shalom, Israel. It's Israel School, Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. Getting it started here, man. ISUPK.com is a website. You understand? Like and subscribe to the channel. We still in the week of Hanukkah, which is a glorious dedication, a feast to the brothers who fought and died against the ungodly hordes. Okay, when I say the ungodly hordes, we're talking about all those heathens. You understand? The Greeks included. Okay, when you're reading the story of the first and second Maccabees, you'll see you'll read about the Greeks, the Arabs, the Arabatines, the people from India, all nations that joined together. Philistines, Idumea, so many nations that joined together to fight against blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians in Israel. Okay, that's why the scripture. That's why today's class is called "Never Trust the Greeks." Okay, because they were the spearhead against Israel back in the day. They were the spearhead that started all this. It all started with Alexander the Greek. Okay, he is not called Alexander the Great. Stop calling him Alexander the Great. He is just Alexander the Greek. Okay, there was nothing great about him. All right, the only thing he did was kill a whole bunch of people. Okay, if he's great for that, then I guess Adolf Hitler the Great also, because he killed a lot of people too, and he took a whole bunch of territories and he murdered and raped and robbed and stole from different countries all over the place. So I guess he'd be great as well. So he is not Alexander the Great, it's Alexander the Greek. Okay, and he was a vile heathen, and the men under him were vile heathens. That when they had opportunity, they murdered and killed and tortured people for not following their made up customs. Okay, we had customs that were passed down from our forefathers. And the ancient decree was that no man would follow the laws of their forefathers, but they would all follow the decree of the Greeks. Now, that law made us go to war. Okay, at the end of the day, it made blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans go to war, which is what we rightly should have done to defend our laws, our lives, and our families. Okay, so that's what we did. Judas Mattathias and his 5 sons, Judas Maccabeus, Simon, Eleazar, Johanan, and Jonathan, or John and Jonathan. Okay, those men launched the charge and started the rebellion against the Greeks. Okay, and during that time, there was lots of atrocities and evil, wicked tortures that were done against our people. That's why the scripture says, "Never trust thine enemy." And even after we fought back and fought the heathens back and killed them in defense of ourselves, and got our things back, even deals we made after that, they were always broken. Okay, and this is a good lesson for our people to learn from the past. Okay, you want to learn these lessons from the past about these heathens and about the way things work. Okay, the average Black, Hispanic, and Native American, the way you think is that we will get to a point where the heathens, the oppressor, the other nations, we will get to a point where they will have respect for us and have love and care for us because we will have gotten degrees, we would have studied in their schools, we would have pledged allegiance to their flag, we would wear suits and ties, we would join their organizations, and through that, we will get respect from them. That is the current goal of the Black community, Black, Hispanic, and Native American community, is to get them to make deals and agreements and love and care towards us. We're here to tell you, I'm going to teach you today in this class, something like that will never happen, and it's a fool's mission to try to make it happen. It's a fool's mission to try to make it happen or to even look for it to happen. To be in the truth is to be in the path of a warrior. Okay, and the path of a warrior, and especially serving the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is perpetual war. All right, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to come to a place where, oh, the heathens, we're all at peace with the heathens, and the heathens are now our friends, and they're just so nice to us. No, it will not happen that way. The only thing that will make these heathens be in check is by bowing them down and putting a yoke of iron on their necks. It's in Genesis, okay, especially about Esau, okay, because when that yoke of iron is off of his neck, he will multiply evils on the earth, which is what he has done, even to the point where plagues have come on the earth. So we're going to get 1 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 1. About that time, King Antiochus, traveling through the high countries, heard say that Elymais in the country of Persia was a city greatly renowned for riches, silver, and gold. Now, this is King Antiochus of the Greeks. All right, one of the men after Alexander the Greek passed down his split up kingdom to his generals. One was Ptolemy, who was down in Egypt, and Antiochus, who was in this like Asia Minor type area, Turkey type area, Antioch, Antiochus, all that area over there. And this is like I think by here it's like the second or third Antiochus, because it went to Antiochus, then his son, Antiochus Epiphanes, and Antiochus Jupiter, and I think then another one. So it was passed down as though they were killed and died. All right. Now this one, he heard about Elymais, which was a country in Persia. All right, because before the Greeks came into power, the Persians were in power. Okay, the Persian Mede Empire, and they under I believe Darius and the different Persian kings had much power and rule, and killed and slaughtered all across the board. All right, now they had been conquered by the Greeks, and it said here there was a city in Persia that he found out of or heard of that had riches, silver, and gold. And being a filthy heathen Greek, he's ready to, as soon as he hear about somebody else having lots of gold and money, he's ready to go and steal it. Just like the oppressor is today. If you were to come up, with millions of dollars for some great idea or invention or anything that's going on, he will quickly come to try to steal it. You understand? He can try to sue you. He'll try to take it from you. He'll try to take you to court. He'll try to tax you to death. He'll do all type of things. The oppressor has all type of ways to try to steal riches on the earth, which is what he does. He steals riches on the earth. So verse 2. And that there was, and if I could, that's another reason in verse 1 that you want to keep your affairs as private as possible. You want to keep your affairs as private as possible, especially coming to the heathens. That's another thing about war. You understand? You don't want the enemy to know what you have or to know what you're dealing with. Okay, you don't want them to know everything. They're gonna know some things, but they're not gonna know everything, and that's important. Okay, these Christians, they go to the point where they are to the point where they actually want the oppressor in all of their business. They want the oppressor to be the one in charge. Not that they want to have their businesses and have their business and have their organizations. They want the oppressor to be over top of that, to be oversight over it, to oppress Israel. That's why you can't trust these black Christian leaders, because these black Christian leaders are going to have a white man over your industry. Going to have a white man ruling over everything, looking over everything, ready to steal and oppress. You can't trust them.
Right.
So let's get more. We at verse 2. And that there was in it we're in First Maccabees chapter 6. And that there was in it a very rich temple, wherein were coverings of gold, and breastplates and shields, which Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian king, who reigned first among the Grecians, had left there. Okay, now this is another thing about it too. When you talk about the Grecians are the people from Idumea, from Edom. All right, when it said here, the son of Philip the Macedonian king, who reigned first among the Grecians, that doesn't mean that Grecian people wasn't there. They were always a people. They were first Esau, Edom. Okay, this is just one set of Edomites that moved from Edom. Okay, let's get more of verse 3.
First Maccabees 6 and 3.
Yes.
This is First Maccabees chapter 6, verse 3. Wherefore he came and sought to take the city.
Right. So he came and sought to take the city because he heard of the riches and the gold and the shields that they supposedly had in the temple there. Like I said, as soon as they hear about something where it's money there, they come to steal it.
Right.
They come to try to take it.
Right.
All right. Go ahead.
6 But he was not able, because they of the city, having had warning thereof.
Yeah. And they like to talk about, the Greeks. The Greeks this, the Greeks that. Okay, after a while, people had got privy to the Greeks. People had got privy to the Greeks and their tactics, in the ways that they did things. And the Greeks wasn't as, just some military powerhouse. They had their first run with Alexander the Greek, and that was a good run. After that, people got privy to their tactics and knew what they were about and knew where they came from. Before, nobody knew where they came from. So it's just like an army that came out of nowhere, people wasn't expecting. But now it's like they know the Greeks. So when the Greeks move out, they know, okay, Greek army is coming. So they heard about the Greek army was coming, and they defended themselves up against it. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Rose up against him in battle. So he fled and departed thence with great heaviness.
These the old Spartans, Spartans and Spartacus men and Athens and all that. This is them. This is them right here. They ran up there and lost. See, this is the true history that you ain't learning in your schools. This is the true history that you don't learn from the movies. Go ahead.
And returned to Babylon. Verse 5. Moreover, there came one who brought him tidings into Persia, that the armies which went against the land of Judea were put to flight. Yeah. Now, after he lost that battle, and this was definitely a good chapter right here, because this heathen right here was the cause of lots of Israelites to be killed unjustly, and he's going to have a horrible death. He loses battles on every side. His kingdom slips out of his hands. He passes it down, and then he dies. And he gets sick and dies. The Lord kills him slowly, and he deserved it.
And all the other men that died with him, they deserved it as well. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And that Lysias, who went forth first with, and that were made strong by the armor.
Hold on. And Lysias went forth first with a great power.
Oh, so like with a great power. Was driven away of the Jews.
Of the who?
Of the Jews.
Who drove him away?
Of the Jews.
Black men. We drove him away. Black, Hispanic, and Native American men. Lysias, who came in Judea with a great power. They was put to flight by the Jews, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is right here is where we need to get our movies from.
Right.
This is where we need to know our stories. We need to know about these stories right here about our people. You worried about a woman sitting on a bus. You think that's the greatest Black history story. You think a man giving a speech saying he had a dream while while the people was getting killed and slaughtered.
Right.
You think that's great Black history. That's the problem. All you people who think like that, you are a problem. You need to be re-educated. You need to be re-educated to the truth. Go ahead, let's get more.
Okay. And that they were made strong by the armor and power and the store of spoils which they had gotten of the armies whom they had destroyed.
Dang. And that we were made strong by all the power and the spoil and the armors that we had gotten after we destroyed these armies of the Greeks. Don't listen to the movies. The Greeks, they wore armor. They didn't have their shirts off wearing little loincloths and a big ass shield. Talking like they don't feel cold or something like that. They just don't get cold. They just don't get nothing. None of the elements, they don't feel nothing. That's bullshit. That's Hollywood. Making you think some crap that never happened, never existed. And they just some great warrior culture, and they were just so unstoppable. Even as a child, they trained them up in war, and they just so tough and badass or whatever. That's BS. They're some boy-loving philosophers. That's what they was. They philosophize all damn day. I think this is a good idea. Well, I think the world revolves around that and this, and that's a good question. Let's ponder. That's who the Greeks were. They wasn't all that mighty warriors, all that. They're like fighting wolves and this and that. That's child's play. Our children of Israel slayed lions, slayed bears. Look at King David. You think he was the only one to ever have to go up toe-to-toe with an animal in the whole country? Come on, man. That's the whole job of a shepherd. He ain't the only one. There's plenty of brothers in the scriptures that slew lions. I think Benaniah is one. He slew one in the snow. There's all type that happened. That was a normal thing in Israel to kill a lion. That was normal. You understand? Don't think they got the little boy fighting a wolf in the movies. You thinking the Spartans and the Greeks is just the top dog of the world. Don't listen to that BS. All right? They might have won that battle over there they call it Thermopylae and this and that. But guess what? They lost the war. The Greeks lost. Get it through your head. The Greeks lost in Judea. They lost in Persia. And then they eventually lost in their own land and was taken over by the Romans. Which is just another family of themselves. But they still lost.
Right.
Okay? Let's get more about these losers.
Verse 7. Also that they pulled down the abomination which he had set up upon the altar in Jerusalem.
And all the altars and statues and the crap, we pulled them down. Lord will, one day we're gonna get to pull down these Christian churches.
Damn right.
These little steeples that's all high with the Christian cross at the top. We're gonna get so much power in this kingdom. We're gonna be owning those buildings, and we're gonna be pulling them down. We're gonna tie big ropes and chains around them, and tie trucks to them, and just pull them down. Just any type of way we want to pull them down, we're just gonna pull them down. crane. We can get somebody to get up there with a hammer and nails, whatever we're gonna do. So we just take it down piece by piece. But Lord will, we're gonna take those down. That's the future. And that's what the brothers did back then. They took down all the fake religions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And that they had compassed about the sanctuary with high walls as before, and his city Bethsura.
And we had got some of our strong cities and put up walls about them. Put up high walls back on them. Jerusalem being the strongest, Bethsura being another super strong one, probably second strongest. And we got our power back and we start rebuilding the defenses. Okay, siege warfare, towers, castles, keeps. You understand? Pouring the boiling hot water off the side on the enemies, or the boiling hot oil and then burning them up. That's what we was doing. Okay, this is before they tried to make it seem like castles and stuff like that only existed in England or something. When England had castles, and they were the only people who had castles up in Europe. No, we had castles. Jerusalem was a city on a hill. Jerusalem was a castle. Like a lot of these other cities were on hills because they were castle cities. And we built siege rams and all that was going on during this time. You have a skewed view of history. You thinking something that happened way later, like that was the pinnacle of technology, and nobody ever reached that type of technology before that. No, you're wrong. We already had this technology here. Okay, that's why we built up these castles. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Now when the king heard these words, he was astonished and sore moved.
When the king heard these words, his feelings was hurt. That's what it's saying. His feelings was hurt, and he was sore moved. Okay? Which means he was hurt, like, I can't believe this is happening. Go ahead.
Whereupon he laid him down upon his bed and fell sick for grief.
Yes. He was so depressed that when he got in the bed, he fell sick for grief. That's what they say, broken heart can kill you.
Right.
That's why brothers need to stop messing with whores.
Right.
Scripture says a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Okay? You want to have a merry heart. That's like a medicine. But you always under grief, you're going to get you an early grave. You're going to have an early grave. So that used to be an old saying where a dude would say, he get with this woman, and he'll say, you be the death of me. Because he know when she leave him, break his heart, do all type of stuff that she been doing, he gonna be like this guy here. He gonna fall sick of grief and be closer to the deathbed.
Right.
So you don't want to fall weak to this type of mindset. Scripture says don't destroy yourself in your mind, which means don't beat yourself up in your thoughts. Like, oh, I'm nothing, oh, I'm messing up, oh, this ain't right, I can't do nothing right. Don't do that. You understand? You're gonna mess yourself up. All right? You're gonna end up like this guy. Go ahead. In this guy's case, he's right. He can't do nothing right. Everything he does is wrong. Go ahead, let's get more.
Because it had not befallen him as he looked for.
Because he was disappointed and it didn't happen like he wanted it to happen.
Right.
He figured he was going to send the armies off to Jerusalem, kill off them Jews, and get them together. Then he was going to take another army and go down to Persia, get the temple, and take a whole bunch of gold and stuff that was left behind, and come back like a hero. Yeah. He messed with the wrong Jews. He messed with the wrong black men. Let's get more.
Verse 9. And there he continued many days, for his grief was ever more and more.
And as the days went on, his depression got worse and worse and worse. That's what he get. Black man, this is the time of our salvation. If you don't have nothing good to look out for, you need to look now then. You need to look into the scriptures. You need to look into the hope that's coming for our fathers. Christ's gonna return. We're gonna get in that wilderness. We're gonna train our brothers up. We're gonna get in a war path, and we're gonna take back everything we lost. And we're not gonna be disappointed like this guy. We actually gonna have success in our war. This is what you need to look forward to. You need to look forward to this. Because everybody knows, and if you don't know, you're going to learn now. This time of year is a depressing time of year.
Right.
Everybody starts getting depressed, and this Christmas spirit starts getting on people. They start killing their cousins and family and turning on each other because they don't have enough money for the Christmas gifts, and they don't have enough money for this and the turkey, and didn't travel all over there to see their cousin for Thanksgiving and this and that. Everybody starts turning on each other and being disappointed. Don't do that, black man. Know that all this is temporary. It's temporal.
Right.
Well, this one here, what we living right here, is temporary. It ain't even gonna last. It's already going towards the end of it.
Right.
So you just need to gird your loins and set up your hope in the Lord. Set your hope up in the Most High. Go ahead.
And he made account that he should die.
Even so, all the way to where he said he made an account that he should die. So he like, I'm gonna die because I cannot get out of this depression. I lost all the money. I ain't get to have success in the battle that I wanted to. I'm going to die. But the scripture's going to tell you a little later that the reason all these things happened to him is for what he did to the children of Israel. This ain't just, bad luck. This is you reap what you sow. And he sowed that this was going to happen. Go ahead, get more.
Okay. Wherefore he called for all his friends and said unto them, the sleep is gone from mine eyes, and my heart faileth for very care.
Now he can't even sleep, and his eyes and his heart faileth for very care. Which means he's depressed about all the things he cared about and losing them, and how he lost them during these battles. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And I thought with myself, into what tribulation am I come, and how great a flood of misery is it?
Right, a flood of misery. He thought to himself, look at all these bad things that happened to me, and the flood of misery that came upon me. And guess what? Black man, even though, Lord will, you don't have it as bad as this guy do, but guess what? This same demon may come to you. Oh, you're going to miss out having on your family because you're in that Thanksgiving dinner. You're going to miss out on getting your kids some Christmas gifts. Everybody, you so sad because you couldn't get your kids Christmas gifts. Don't make yourself an enemy of the Lord, because that type of depression will never go away. The feeling you're going to get how your Christmas and your Thanksgiving going to be ruined, that feeling is never going to go away. That's a curse from the Lord to make you feel that way, because you care about, this man very much care. You care so much about Christmas. You care so much about Thanksgiving. Go ahead.
Okay. Wherein now I am, for I was bountiful and beloved in my power.
He was bountiful, had lots of money, lots of everything he needed and could want, and he was beloved in his power. So everybody loved him, has him as the king. But that's why it says here. It says he was. Let me say here. It says, for I was bountiful and beloved. He took all these men and all these trains and went on these war paths and lost them both. He was bountiful. He was beloved. This is the good justice that happened to the Greeks, to their Greek king. And as the king is, so is the people. So for surely all the people were feeling sad and down and depressed because this king was losing. losing his money, losing his grip. Everybody was like, man, sad with him. But these Greeks deserved it because they did so many evil things against the children of Israel. Let's get more.
Verse 12. But now I remember the evils that I did at Jerusalem.
But now he remembers the evils that he did at Jerusalem. He remembers all the evil things he did. And there was many evil things that he did in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Okay. And that I took all the vessels of gold and silver that were therein.
And he took the gold and the silver that was in the temple in Jerusalem and in the city. Go ahead.
And sent to destroy the inhabitants of Judea without a cause.
And he sent to destroy the inhabitants of Judea without a cause. This same type of depression right here, it's going to happen to the white man here in America.
Right.
Best believe it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to the white man here in America. It's going to happen to him for his evil that he's done against the children of Israel. It's going to be it's going to be called mass suicides in America. With mass suicides here in America by the white man because look what happens when the stock market crashes.
Right.
Look what happened during the Great Depression. That's part of the reason they wanted to make sure to try to outlaw that liquor. Shoot, look what it was going crazy on liquor because the Great Depressions.
Right.
And all the hard times. So this is what we have to look forward to see our enemies suffer. Black, Hispanic, and Native American man. You just going to have to get out of the way of the bullet.
Right.
Stop loving all these Christmas and Thanksgiving and this and that. Let the oppressor get more sicknesses for having Christmas and New Year's parties. Let them die from that stuff, not you, black man.
Right.
But it seems like, Lord will, you don't have to learn in your death or on your deathbed. Hopefully, Lord will, you don't have to learn then and be on your deathbed and be thinking about you in the hospital with the COVID, thinking about all the things that you didn't do that you knew you should have did. Best believe it didn't happen. There's been lots of brothers who knew about the ISUPK. Their family member was in the ISUPK, and they always thought about the Hebrew Israelites. Mm-hmm. They always thought about it like, the Hebrew Israelites, I think I'm going to just, it makes sense, but I'm going to just hold off. I'm not going to do that. I got to stick to what I'm not going to try to make no drastic changes. Mm-hmm. Then when they caught COVID and they're sitting on their deathbed, they sat back and thought like, damn, well, the Hebrew Israelites right? Mm-hmm. Am I going to get into heaven? I should have gotten to the school. I should have gotten to the classes. Mm-hmm. I should have learned. They just going to sit back and think, man, I done messed up. Although I knew I shouldn't have celebrated Christmas. I knew I shouldn't have celebrated New Year's. I knew I shouldn't have did that to that brother. I knew I shouldn't have did that to that sister. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen.
So like,
go ahead, Ward.
That's super heavy because a lot of brothers and sisters we talk to them on the streets like, oh yeah, I know about y'all. I've been watching y'all for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, the scriptures say the Lord come like a thief in the night. Mm-hmm. You sitting and waiting, you might not want to wait too much longer.
Yeah. Waiting time is over. You're going to be like this heathen. Well, he said he perceived all these troubles came upon him because of all the things that he did. And man, I just think about the people's families, members that they had family members in the truth, but they were never in the truth. Mm-hmm. And then how they, even in these last 2 years, there's a large number of them that died from COVID. Just people that I know of on the earth that I know. And it's a small amount of people because there's millions of people on the earth. And I don't know half of that. So how many people know about the truth wound up on their deathbed?
Right.
Let's get more.
Verse 13. I perceive, therefore, that for this cause these troubles are come upon me.
Mm-hmm.
And behold, I perish through great grief in a strange land.
Yeah, he ain't even make it home to die. He ain't even make it home to go see his kids or nothing. He's on the road in a tent with his army in a strange land. With his army dwindling away. Probably half his army probably deserting his stinking ass. That's the type of justice. That's what he deserves.
Right.
Okay, don't nobody feel sorry for this heathen. Let's get more.
Verse 14. Then called he for Philip, one of his friends, whom he made ruler over all his realm.
Mm-hmm. So he passed down the kingdom. He said to Philip, "You're gonna be in charge." Go ahead.
Verse 15. And gave him the crown and his robe and his signet to the end.
Gave him his crown and his robe and his signet. Go ahead.
To the end he should bring up his son Antiochus and nourish him up for the kingdom.
Yeah, so he told him, look, go back. My son Antiochus is still over there. Raise him up so he could be the king. But I'm past everything to you, and the charge of raising up my son, I'm past that to you also. Go ahead.
Verse 16. So King Antiochus died there in the 149th year.
Celebrate, yeah. I'm talking about heathens getting judgment for all the wicked things. This guy, he was responsible for throwing infants off of walls and hanging infants about their necks and throwing women off walls, black women. So he not getting no damn sympathy over here. This is the day of the Lord, day of the judgment of the Lord. All right, go ahead.
Verse 17. Now when Lysias knew that the king was dead, he set up Antiochus his son, whom he had brought up being young, to reign in his stead, and his name he called Eupator.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 18. About this time, they that were in the tower shut up the Israelites round about the sanctuary,
Mm-hmm.
and saw always their hurt and the strengthening of the heathen.
So basically, you had a tower built in Jerusalem, and heathens it was basically like a castle or a keep, and heathens were shut up in it. Whereas you can't get in it, but they can come out whenever they want and try to attack you. But you can't get in it and take them out. So they were basically being like a thorn on our side, killing us, killing our people, catching us, killing us, different people and stuff like that, fighting against us. So we was dealing with them. Go ahead.
Okay. And sought always to hurt them in the strengthening of the heathen. Verse 19. Wherefore Judas, purposing to destroy them, called all the people together to besiege them.
Yeah. Now Judas, so he says, you know what? This is it. We're gonna besiege them. We're gonna stand outside this castle all day and all night and not let none of them out until they give up or until they starve to death and die. Which is a hard task if the person got food and water and stuff inside, which they did. They had food and water and everything they needed inside to keep, and they could just, shoot arrows out to keep, do stuff. So Judas had to get the people on board and said, look, we're gonna besiege this tower. And that's what the brothers did. Like, man, ready to fight these heathens, man. Like, man, I bet it was glorious to be able to just like go toe to toe with the heathens, man, and really just put them to death for all the things they try to do against us. Okay? Now, obviously, warfare is not no easy thing, but it's definitely glorious to defeat your enemies.
Right.
Regardless, in any fashion. It's glorious to defeat them. Go ahead.
Verse 20. So they came together and besieged them in the 150th year, and he made mounts for shots against them and other engines.
Right. So, they got little trebuchets, springals, different different things that shoot arrows and stuff like that. That's what they made to fire against them, to shoot against them. Okay, go ahead.
Come on. Verse 21. Howbeit certain of them that were besieged got forth, unto whom some ungodly men of Israel joined themselves.
So some of them got forth, which means they got away from the temple, like they escaped. They fought through a weak point and ran away. And then they even were able to get some Israelites to join them. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And they went unto the king and said, How long will it be ere thou execute judgment and avenge our brethren?
So now, when they left the tower, they ran all the way to the king, who was far away. So they must have traveled a good distance. But back then, you get on a horse, ride a few days, and you in another kingdom or whatever. And so they went and said to the king, "How are you going to go do something about those Israelites? That's are you going to avenge our brethren, the other heathens that's dying?" Go ahead.
Verse 23. We have been willing to serve thy father.
Yeah, so they said, "Look, your father who just died, the other Antiochus, we served him." Go ahead.
And to do as he would have us.
And we obeyed and was good slaves to you, master. That's what they basically saying. We was good slaves to you. We did everything you told us to do. And those bad niggas over there, they ain't doing what you said to do. Oh, you want to do something about them? These are some damn coons, man. Medieval coons. Hellenistic coons, man. Why do you think the brothers had such a hard time when Paul and them, when they went up to Greece to teach the Israelites to come back to the truth? Why do you think he had such a hard time? He was getting jumped, he got beat up, robbed, and all type of stuff, chased out of town. Because Greece was full of fucking, excuse my language, of damn coons. Just like America, full of damn Uncle Toms. Full of damn huck and buck fetching, jumping fetch?
Stepping.
Oh yeah, a bunch of stepping fetching Negroes. He ain't nothing but a stepping fetching Negro. Try to make yourself seem like you're just so smart and educated. You really just a punk. You really just a coward. You really just somebody who's gonna bow down to whatever the somebody with white skin tell you to. Regardless if they're right or wrong. See, that's the problem with coons and these certain coons and black Uncle Toms. That, okay, yeah, you want to follow what's right and rules in society, but you'll even follow the white man when he's wrong. He's always wrong, but at least in your eyes, you may perceive, oh, he's right in this. This was the right thing he did. You'll even follow him when you know this is something wrong he's doing. That's what makes you extra disgusting. That's what makes you extra abominable. And thank God for the UPK, because we're the only ones who still speak like this.
Right.
Nobody else tells the truth about our people. Nobody else tells the truth about the white man. Let's get more.
Verse 24. For which cause they of our nation besiege the tower. And are alienated from us.
And they saying, because we followed you, those blacks that was they besieged the tower because we followed you. Go ahead.
Moreover, as many of us as they could light on, they slew.
And they was killing us, all the ones they can catch. Thank you, Judas Maccabeus and your brothers, man. Get rid of them coons. And all you coons who out there now, and Uncle Toms who out there now who may be watching, that day is coming for you too.
Right.
Not saying the Israelite School UBK gonna come in and cut your throat in your backyard, but that day of judgment is coming for you from the Lord. That's what's coming for you. Go ahead.
Okay. And spoiled our inheritance.
No, they took your money. All your money you got from the white man, they took it. That's good. It made me think about South Africa. I don't know if you know what happened in South Africa I think it was like last month or a month or two ago. Basically, like most of South Africa, they had like a George Floyd style like week, but the whole city was like looted. All the Africans was just everywhere looting every damn thing. And this happened real recently. And so, this whole cities, I'm talking the whole street was just full of burnt stuff. Like, man, let me pull it up. Go to YouTube, go to Vice and type in South Africa. Go to YouTube, type in Vice News and type South Africa. There's a visual in that is just crazy.
You want to show it off? Or just the audio?
No audio. I want to see to show the video. Just a quick, like a picture of when they was in the street. Take the sound off so you don't hear it because they might flag it from the sound.
Try to get a good steal. Oh, here's a good steal.
Pull it up on the screen so they can see it. I'm trying to pull it up myself as well.
That's a good steal.
Bang. And there's actually another one that it was in the daytime. Look, it's towards the middle or the end. Try that. A little farther, a little farther, a little farther. Towards the end. Get a little farther, 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 farther. No, a little farther. A little farther. Oh, that's it. Now, ooh, look at that. Look at that. Now that's a riot. Now that's a loot. Now that's some looting and rioting that went on out there in South Africa.
Right.
Yep. So that's what just happened out there. And you best believe the oppressor kingdom has fallen. The Chinese are making big moves. I'm hearing a lot of noise on the airways about the Chinese making big moves in the South China Sea and every damn where. You best believe the oppressor's day is coming. It's coming.
You go, Decker.
Yeah, that should be good enough. Woo-wee, look at that. Look at all that. Now that whole city is looking like that, though. Or like most of the cities looking like that. Like that's not just, it just happened in one area. Like that was a whole city. So people will recognize what's going on in the world. That type of, doing all that looting and robbing. It's gonna be like that movie, and with a lot of anarchy, RoboCop, the beginning of RoboCop. Yeah, people like living underground, doing like mass robberies and crazy gangs and the cities were dilapidated. It's coming. All right. Let's get some more. Where we at?
Verse 24. And alienated from us, moreover, as many of us as they could light on, they slew and spoiled our inheritance. Neither have they stretched out their hand against us only, but also against all their borders.
We're taking them out. Go ahead.
Verse 26. And behold, this day are they besieging the tower at Jerusalem to take it. The sanctuary also and Bethsura have they fortified.
Bethsura, that's another heavy spot. You get Bethsura, you in the game. That with Jerusalem, we got a stronghold. Go ahead.
Come on. Verse 27. Wherefore, if thou dost not prevent them quickly, they will do greater things than these.
Yep. And this is how the oppressor feels about the Israelite school UPK. That's why they're so against us. Like, we go out and speak on the streets. You would think, like, if you don't like it, then keep walking.
Right.
It don't really have nothing to do with you. Like, when I be sometimes I see some little picketers and people who like riding for a cause, or not riding, but protesters. They protesting world peace or animals or whales, or that some job screwed them over.
Right.
So they got this protest. I don't sit there and argue and battle with them.
Right.
Why would I stop in my midday of what I'm doing just to sit there and battle with these people over their protests?
Mm-hmm.
You only would try to stop it if you've seen what these people seen. If you feel like what this man feels. Read that part again.
Wherefore, if thou dost not prevent them quickly, they will do greater things than these.
Where if you don't prevent them quickly, they're going to do greater things than these. And that's how we felt. Like we need to stop these Israelites because they got something here. Mm-hmm. Something in these Israelites where if we just let these people be, like this will be a big problem. They will do great things. They hear what we say on the streets and they know, we gotta stop this. This is just too much. This is too powerful. Mm-hmm. Even though it's just 4 or 5 cats on a block with a piece of wood and some signs and a little microphone. We ain't out there with cars and money and guns and nothing. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Go ahead.
That's super heavy because it's super heavy because you're so right. There's so many people that stop and want to argue us up and down when there's nothing but free road, in between us and them. And they argue over us for what? We just five cats on the corner, like you said.
Mm-hmm. They just know something in them knows that it's powerful and it's like, man, this needs to be stopped because it will grow.
Right.
It's something like this can grow and it's like, can infect and get other Negroes mad.
Right.
Let's go. Let's get more.
Neither shalt thou be able to rule them.
Neither shalt thou be able to rule them. Go ahead.
28. Now when the king heard this, he was angry and gathered together all his friends and the captains of his army and those that had charge of the horse.
And so he said, man, I need to get all my friends, anybody I can get to help me stop this. Go ahead.
29. There came also unto him from other kingdoms and from isles of the sea bands of hired soldiers.
There came from him others. That's why I said all the nations joined together. Go ahead.
Verse 30. So that the number of his army was 100,000 footmen and 20,000 horsemen and 32 elephants exercised in battle.
32 elephants, 100,000 foot soldiers. They amassed a huge force to come against us. Go ahead.
Verse 31. These went through Idumea and pitched against Bethsura, which they assaulted many days, making engines of war But they of Bashur came out and burned them with fire and fought valiantly.
Mm-hmm. That's how you deal with those siege engines. You gotta come out there and burn them up. Gotta send the villagers, burn them up, light them on fire. That's the only way you're gonna stop them. You know, it's an inanimate object. You can't, stab it to death. You gotta burn it up. Let's get more.
Verse 32. Upon this, Judas removed from the tower and pitched in Beth Zacharias over against the king's camp.
Bath is like house. So maybe the house of Zacharias or some area where Zacharias' house was at. But basically, he came out the tower with some soldiers and set up tent in a spot that he wanted to fight from. Go ahead.
Verse 33. Then the king, rising very early, marched fiercely with his host toward Beth Zacharias, where his armies made them ready to battle and sounded the trumpets. Verse 34. And to the end they might provoke the elephants to fight, they showed them the blood of grapes and mulberries. Verse 35.
So they're basically trying to get the elephants high so they can fight. Go ahead.
Verse 35. Moreover, they divided the beasts among the armies, and for every elephant they appointed 1,000 men, armed with coats of mail and with the helmets of brass on their heads. And besides this, for every beast were ordained 500 horsemen of the best.
This is a serious force here. Serious force he's up against. The only way he can win this battle is with the help of the Lord. The only way he can come out on top. Go ahead.
Verse 36. These were ready at every occasion, whosoever the beast was, and whithersoever the beast went, they went also, neither departed they from him. Verse 37. And upon the beast were the strong towers of wood, which covered every one of them, and were girt fast upon them with devices. There were also upon every one 32 strong men that fought upon them, besides the Indian that ruled him.
So man, these horses were serious business. They had them all set up and ready for battle. Go ahead.
Elephants.
Elephants are ready for battle. Go ahead. I might skip a few. Where we at? What verse we at?
We at. I'm gonna start at 38. Unless you want me to.
Go to verse 41.
Verse 41. Wherefore all that heard the noise of their multitude and the marching of the company and the rattling of the harness were moved, for the army was very great and mighty. Verse 42.
So when they heard, I could just imagine, I could just imagine. I've heard probably about like 100 men marching, and that was a sound. Now, let alone you talking thousands, tens of thousands, with horses and elephants and engines of war, all clicking and clackling and making noises and harnesses swinging and swords clanging. Like, that must have just been a crazy sound. Go ahead.
Verse 42. Then Judas and his host drew near and entered into battle. And there were slain of the king's army 600 men. Verse 43. Eleazar also, surnamed Severan, perceiving that one of the beasts armed with royal harness was higher than all the rest, and supposing that the king was upon him.
So he seen one elephant that was higher than the rest of the elephants, and it had a royal harness, so he figured that's like the one the king is on. Go ahead.
Verse 44. Putting himself in jeopardy to the end he might deliver his people and get him a perpetual name.
Right. So he put himself in jeopardy, which means he went deep into enemy lines. deep in the enemy lines where he could be surrounded and killed just so he could get to that elephant. Go ahead.
Verse 45. Wherefore he ran upon him courageously through the midst of the battle, slain on the right hand and on the left.
So he get through. He slain on the right hand and on the left. So man, he just fight. He like a damn kung fu master. Like he just block, boom, boom, kill, kill. All I can see, like they try to show you in the movies, he was really doing it. Alexander wasn't doing this. Alexander was just riding around on a horse, hammering anvil and cats. He wasn't really on the ground like blah, blah, taking them down. He was on a horse the whole time, just riding around telling people where to go. This man, this is warrior right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like I was just gonna piggyback on what you said.
Hebrew back.
Hebrew back.
Yeah, Hebrew
or
back.
add on. Let me just add on to what you were saying. What you were saying about the movies, like this right here. This is a movie scene. What the Bible is laying down right here, the stuff that they get from the movies, and just kind of like say adding to what you were saying. This cat actually went in the midst of battle, just like you see in the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Serious. Let's get more.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. This makes me want to go watch one of them. I watched something. I watched some show. I know what I'm gonna watch. Watching Age of Empires. They got new Age of Empires. You ever seen that video game?
Wow.
It's like a computer game where you build a little town, but you gotta get soldiers and you fight. Yeah, they got a new one now, and it's the same as this: building sieges, engines of war, castles, keeps, all of that. This is what our brothers had. How our brothers fought during this time. Go ahead.
So that they were divided from him on both sides. Mm-hmm. Verse 46. Which done, he crept under the elephant and thrust him under and slew him.
So he took the belly of the elephant out. Go ahead.
Whereupon the elephant fell down upon him, and there he died.
Damn. Died and had to get squashed underneath that, suffocated. But guess what? He took out that elephant too. You understand? He fought in there. This man was willing to go to every length for the Lord and for the Lord's people and for the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments. He was willing to go to every length for the Most High, and his name is going to be is forever written down in well, I don't want to say infamy. Infamy doesn't mean bad, does it? Infamy is like you're famous for something bad.
I think so. I have to look it up if you want.
Yeah, look at the word infamy. I know infamous is you famous for something bad. Infamy. I gotta double check. INFAMMY maybe. Infamy.
Extremely bad reputation, public reproach, or strong condemnation as the result of a shameful, criminal, or outrageous act.
So his name ain't gonna go down in infamy. His name is gonna forever go down in glory and honor and strength and power for what he did. Go ahead.
Okay. Howbeit, the rest of the Jews, seeing the strength of the king and the violence of his forces, turned away from them. Mm-hmm. Verse 48. Then the king's army went up to Jerusalem to meet them, and the king pitched his tent against Judea and against Mount Zion.
Right. This is the ultimate castle, Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Verse 49.
If I could, even the Romans didn't want to run up in Jerusalem. They was trying to do a siege. That was the only way they could really try to fight against Jerusalem. They had to try to weaken it before they was able to fight. They had to wait on the outside the city for a long time to try to starve the city out before they went to fight. Because they knew fighting them Jews in Jerusalem, you better off trying to catch a fly. Because it ain't gonna happen. Jerusalem was a strong city that King David chose. King David chose that city to be the capital, or to put his name and be the spot where the Lord's place is going to be at. And man, Jerusalem is a mighty city. Like, it is not easily conquered, like, or taken down. Okay, it's got walls. It's got like 4 layers of walls. It's got the outer wall. It's got another wall inside that wall that makes the city even smaller, and then another wall over the temple, and then walls in the temple. So you got like 4 layers of defense to really have to take everybody out in there. Like, you got to go through 4 layers of walls. And it's hard enough getting through the first layer because you coming down from a hill. It ain't like it's flat land. It's like you at the top of the hill is the walls. So how the hell are you going to do that? Great city. Go ahead, Ward.
Verse 49. But with them that were in Bethsura, he made peace. For they came out of the city because they had no victuals there to endure the siege. It being a year of rest to the land.
Wait, say that part. Read that part again.
It being a year of rest to the land.
So during this time, there wasn't as many goods stored up in the city, victuals, because it's the year of rest, the 7th year. So they didn't have that as much. So it's making it harder to defend. Go ahead.
Okay. So the king took Bethsura and set a garrison there to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 51. As for the sanctuary, he besieged it many days, and set their artillery with engines and instruments to cast fires and stones, and pieces to cast darts and slings.
Mm-hmm. That's the temple. He besieged it. Go ahead.
Verse 52. Whereupon they also made engines against their engines, and held them battle a long season.
Right. So we shooting big arrows and sling stones at them, and they shooting it back. Go ahead.
Verse 53. Yet at the last, their vessels being without victuals, for that it was the 7th year, and they in Judea that were delivered from the Gentiles had eaten up the residue of the store.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 54. There were but a few left in the sanctuary, because the famine did so prevail against them, that they were fain to disperse themselves every man to his own place.
So they was really ready to just abandon ship because they didn't have as much food because the heathens was eating up all the damn food. Go ahead.
Verse 55. At that time Lysias heard say that Philip, whom Antiochus the king, whiles he lived, had appointed to bring up his son Antiochus, that he might be king, was returned out of Persia and Media.
Now, all the way back to the beginning of this chapter, the first cat that died out there, and he told the other guy, go be the king, but raise up my son to be the king.
Right.
That guy finally makes it back. All right? Or no, he don't finally make it back. He starts to say that the little kid dude is going to be the king, Antiochus Jupiter. All right? Go ahead.
Come. Verse 56. Was returned out of Persia and Media, and the king's host also that went with him.
Okay, so this is them returning back. So this is them finally making it back. Okay? Go ahead.
And the king's host also that went with him, and that he sought to take unto him the ruling of the affairs.
So he's like, I'm going to go back. He's going back to get back the kingdom, brought the army back, setting everything back up how it's going to be, where he's going to rule and raise up the son to be the king. And this cat, who's, kind of like, who's got an army under him, what's this cat's name?
Philip.
Okay, this cat's name is Philip? I thought it was Lysias.
Lysias.
So this cat, Lysias, he's got a ton of the army under his command. So he's like, shoot, that king's dead. The little kid king can't really be it. I might as well go back and be the king. Because he's ruling right now he got an army of 100,000. So who won't deny him? So he started to see that, like, oh shoot, hold up. They going back, they gonna set everything up. So when I go back, I ain't gonna be the king. I'm gonna just be, anything can happen to me. I'm gonna have to now he's thinking like he need to go back with this army and take the kingdom or take the throne. That's what he started to think while he's battling us. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 57. Wherefore he went in all haste and said to the king and the captains of the host and the company, we decay daily, and our victuals are but small, and the place we lay siege unto is strong, and the affairs of the kingdom lie upon us.
He said, so he said to the king and the captains. So he said to the captains of the host, look, we run out of money, we run out of time, we ain't got as much food like we used to, and this place is hard to take down. And we got to go back to the king because the kings, they're going to reset who's going to be new king. So we got to get in there and make sure, all the seats don't get taken and we get pushed to the side. Like, we're all men of the kingdom too, so we got to go back. So he's telling that to all the captains. Go ahead.
Verse 58. Now therefore let us be friends with these men, and make peace with them, and with all their nation. Verse 59.
Now this is the part that is the most important part that I want to bring out of this story. This part right here. They said, let us be friends with these men and make peace with them and with all their nation. Now, do they want to be friends and make peace with them because Judas Maccabeus are right and they were wrong and they want to do the right thing?
Right.
No, that's not why they want to make peace. They want to make peace because they want to go and do something else. They got something more pressing to them that they want to handle. That's why they want to make peace. Understand this. The white man don't ever want to make peace with you because he think you're right and he want to treat you like a citizen and he think you should be treated equal and slavery's wrong. He never does something for you because of those reasons. He always has ulterior motives. Look at Abraham Lincoln, what he said. He said, if I could unify the Union without freeing the slaves, I would do so.
Right.
Because he knew the South having slaves made the South more powerful than the North in the long run. Because of all that free labor. Somebody going to work their farms while they go out and do whatever the hell they want to do in the world. While they increasingly get rich, he got to stop that. That's why he did that. The Civil Rights Bill. You think the Civil Rights Bill was just because the white man said, you know what, we just got to do what's right.
Right.
We got to make it right, man. Everything that we did wrong in 400 years, we had a chance for 300 years to do this, but we're going to do it now just because it's the right thing to do. We never thought about doing it our whole life, but now we want to do it because it's the right thing to do. If you believe that, you're a damn fool. And that's what Christianity is. That's what Christianity raises. Fools who don't understand history, who don't understand really nothing about warfare. They ain't signed the Civil Rights Bill because they just knew it was the right thing to do. They signed the Civil Rights Bill to get blacks in line. That's why they signed it. To keep blacks in line. Look, we'll sign the bill, we'll let them ride the buses, we'll let them do this and that. Matter of fact, it may even turn out good for us because then they can come to our stores and shop in our places and we can kind of get rid of their stores. We don't want them Negroes rising up. That's why they signed it. Because they wanted to worry about Vietnam. They wanted to worry about Russia. That's why they signed it. They wouldn't give a damn about no nigga.
Right.
They didn't give a damn about no blacks running around in church uniforms getting their asses whooped by the cops. They just turn the news and watch that and say, wow, that's so sad. Let me get back to doing what I got to do every day.
Right.
Like that wasn't like affecting them every day. Like were they changing their life? Look what happening now. Black people getting killed. White people ain't like changing their life because of it.
Right.
It don't affect them. When you see a white person gets killed, how does that affect your day? If you watch the news and they told you a school of white kids got shot, are you going to stop, drop, and roll? What we going to do about that? That's the same way they feel when they see the cops kill black people. There's nothing they going to do about it or say about it. They wanted to fight Vietnam. They wanted to fight Russia. And they knew they ain't trying to fight Negroes in America and fight Russia abroad.
Right.
Because they need Negroes to be in line. So they like, let's sign this bill and stop all this riffraff and marching and all this going on. Yashkaya said, he said, the underplay for the overplay. That's damn right. And we thinking, man, we finally really got through to them. We finally did it. They really want to change. They're just trying to get you to shut up and get in line so they can focus on what they want to focus on, which is their affairs. That's the same thing happened back then, and that same thing happening now. They ain't give a damn about George Floyd. It was black men getting killed just like George Floyd weeks after George Floyd got killed like George Floyd.
Right.
They ain't give a damn about that. But they know they have their own affairs that they want to attend to, so they can't always sit there and fiddle and play with blacks. So they entertain you a little bit. Oh, look, let's just make peace. Come on, let's make peace. Because they know they want to do something else for a while. They done beating up on you. That's what's going on here. He like, man, we got to go back to our kingdom and handle some affairs.
Right.
We ain't got, let's just leave these Jews alone. Let's act like we're going to be friends. Let's act like we want peace. When Judas and their brothers, this was an opportunity for them to say, we got them on the back foot. Let's apply the pressure on these damn heathens. Let's tell them ain't never gonna be no peace. Let's start the counterattack. Send out the message that the heathens is weak and they breaking. And it's time for us to do the counterattack on them. Tell them it'll never be no peace. Let's get more.
Come on. Verse 58, it's like verse 59. And covenant with them that they shall live after their laws, as they did before. For they are therefore displeased, and have done all these things because we abolished their laws.
Let's just make peace with them. I know, really, all this is about because they want to do their laws. So let's let them sit in front of the bus. We got more serious things. You got the Vietnam War and Russia to worry about. Go ahead, let the blacks sit on the damn bus. Right. Go ahead, here you go, black people. You can get in the front of the bus now. You can sit wherever you want on this bus. Just make sure you're at work on time. Right. Oh, it's okay, black people. You want this cop to go to jail? Let's go ahead, make that one out of a million cops. Let's make him go to jail. Right. That was bad. That's why the city getting tore down, because they didn't want that. They want this cop to go to jail. Right. That's what this is all about. Just put that cop in jail, and we can go about fighting China. Let's go back to what we want to do. Fighting over the country, fighting over power. The red versus the blue, the right versus the left. Let's get back to what we want to do, and just let the blacks sit on the bus. Right. Let's go ahead and put that on the bus, because that's really what all this is about. They displeased because they ain't sitting on the bus. This is how the heathens look at it. But your rebellion is a lot more powerful than you think. Your rebellion is making them where they can't function, man. We can really break them down. Like Yashkaya said, he said, like finding that man guilty to avoid riots stopping their money. Yeah. Oh well, this Ahmaud Arbery case. Let's just make sure that gets a good verdict, because we don't want blacks messing up Thanksgiving. You know, they really just want this guy to go to jail. You know, they want a little justice here and there, sprinkle in a little justice for them, especially if everybody know about the case. Everybody already looking at the case. Just go ahead and sprinkle a little justice over here. We ain't got to do no real justice, like societal justice, and actually, treat them right and not actually kill them at all. That's just, this one's a kind of clear cut case. Make this one, just give them a little justice right there. Make them go to jail for a little bit. They did it was on camera, man. I mean, we can't even do the George Zimmerman thing and just have it make up shit. It's on camera, so it's all right. We'll let this one go, especially since it's right about Thanksgiving. We can't fuck up Thanksgiving money. We don't want to fuck up Black Friday money. You don't want Black Friday to turn into bust down the doors and steal everything Friday. You don't want that to happen. They're really just mad because this little court stuff, man. Let's just give them some justice, and we can get rid of all that right before the holiday season, and then things just go back to normal. We really got to deal with China and Russia, and making sure our ports ain't stopping up. We got a virus and various viruses we got to deal with. Let's deal with what we got to deal with, and just let these Negroes. That's all they really care about. It ain't about they murdered our people, they hung our women, and they hung our babies and threw them off the walls and tortured the whole family and they murdered people and killed them. They ain't really worried about that. They're really just mad because they ain't allowed to do their laws and they wasn't able to sit in front of the bus. Emmett Till, all that stuff, they're not really mad about that. They just want to sit on the front of the bus. They want to go to school. Just let them go to school. Just make all the schools go to school. Just let everybody just go to school. I mean, it's not really 400 years of injustice. That's not really the big deal. They just want to sit on the bus and drink the water fountain. Just let them drink the water, and we got more things to worry about. This is what goes on in the white man's mind, and we need to keep applying the pressure and keep rebelling against the white man. We need to keep rebelling, as in the way we rebel is by not celebrating Thanksgiving, not celebrating Christmas, keeping the law, statute, commandment, loving your brother as you love yourself. That's how you rebel. Let's get more in the scripture.
Verse 60. So the king and the princes were content. Wherefore he sent unto them to make peace, and they accepted thereof.
We accepted the peace offer. Go ahead.
Verse 61. Also the king and the princes made an oath unto them, whereupon they went out of the stronghold.
Said they made an oath. Said, we promised with our pinky ring, we pinky swear that we are not going to mess with y'all anymore. Go ahead.
Verse 62. Then the king entered into Mount Zion.
The king did what?
Entered into Mount Zion.
Why did they let the king inside the city? Let's read more.
But when he saw the strength of the place, he brake his oath.
He what?
He brake his oath.
He what?
He brake his oath.
He broke the oath when he seen the strength of the place. Go ahead.
That he had made. And gave commandment to pull down the wall round about.
Now, could he have gave the commandment to pull down the wall round about before he made peace? No partisan?
Oh, shit, he couldn't because the men were defending him.
There you go. He couldn't have gave that order before they made peace because they wasn't letting them in the walls.
Right.
They was fighting against them. But since they made peace, he was able to come inside, look how everything was set up. He didn't like it, and he tore it apart. Let's get some more.
Verse 63. Afterward departed he in all haste, and returned unto Antiochia, where he found Philip to be master of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So he fought against him and took the city by force.
That's it on this story for today. The point that matters, all of the story is glorious and matters, but the point I want to bring out, where the scripture says, never trust thine enemies.
Mm-hmm.
All this that we read, all this fighting that we did, in just this one chapter, it was all undone because the heathen said he wanted to be friends.
Right.
That's how easy it really was.
Right.
He doing all this fighting and war, sieging, and people getting burnt up and all this. All you had to do was come and say, let's be friends. That's all he got to do is say, you treated equal. Look, we're going to write you a civil rights bill. We just going to be friends. That's all they had to do was say, look, Ahmaud Arbery, killer, they went to jail. Everything's cool now, black people. Don't be mad anymore.
Right.
Don't care about race anymore. Thanksgiving is here. We can just be friends. What's crazy is this tactic worked 2,000 years ago, and it worked today.
Right.
All the white man got to do is come out and say, let's just be friends.
Right.
And they'll undo the whole black movement. Thank God for righteous, strong leadership in the Israelite school of UPK, to where we'd never be friends with the heathens.
Right.
We'd never accept a peace covenant with the heathens. We were never even taught to make a peace deal or covenant or anything with the heathens.
Right.
Like, that's not even in our vocabulary. Go ahead, warrior.
So like I want to get the scripture real quick.
Yes, go ahead.
This is 1 Esdras chapter 8, verse 85. Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them.
Go ahead, break it down.
Shit, that part break down itself right there, Cap. You ain't never supposed to seek to have the peace with the heathens. That's what the Bible says. Mm-hmm. It also says that ye may be strong and eat the good things of the land, and that ye may leave the inheritance of the land unto your children forevermore. That's
how we'll be strong. The walls would never have to go down. He could have passed some walls down to his kids. Look, the Greeks could come down here with 100,000. It could be the year of rest. We ain't even hardly got any food. You'll be able to defend against these Greeks. All because we never made an agreement with the heathen.
Right.
That's why we don't have nothing now, because our forefathers made agreements with the heathens.
Right.
It made me think a little bit. I wonder if Black Wall Street was more militaristic.
Right.
Like even a little more militaristic. Even if they're not fighting the whole country, but at least fighting those fucking hillbillies outside their town.
Right.
I wonder how many more brothers, even if they wouldn't have won the battle, because the heathens could keep bringing in reinforcements, even if they would have just been able to just flee, or been able to protect themselves better to be able to get everybody out.
Right.
Or to maybe make a stalemate, or where the heathens just really couldn't even come in like that.
Right.
Where the heathens would have just been like, having to negotiate. I wonder how things would have turned out. How many more of our people would have been saved?
Right.
All they had to do was put a gate around town, around the city. They had an airport, they got movie theaters, they got bus stations, they got all that shit. They could have easily put up a wall.
Right.
And make a gate. Berlin Wall, that was still going on even during we had guns.
Right.
During Germany, they had a wall then. They could have had a wall and had the citizens armed. I think a lot of the brothers was armed, but it wasn't like the city bought these guns, like a city armory. Like where it's like, okay, in this spot we got 400 Remington rifles and 300 revolvers. And when we sound the alarm, every man in Black Wall Street can come here and get their gun to defend their families. I mean, it wasn't nothing like organized defense like that.
Right.
I'm sure brothers had guns because brothers had guns always.
Right.
but it was no organized defense against some damn heathens. You know, because when you think about it, it could have been done because it's not like they had nuclear bombs back then.
Right.
I know they did bomb the city, so some bombs might have went off, but they would have had that been their only defense. They could have just come in and start killing people.
Right.
And at least from that point, you have to start making bunkers, or at least get everybody to start evacuating because now they're attacking. So we got to evacuate this whole area, which is what they end up doing anyway. They end up having to run away. The sun came back.
Right.
But at least that day, or however long that took, because a lot of blacks came back to Black Wall Street after that.
Right.
Like it wasn't like just wiped them away and then we just scattered just walked away forever. Like people came back like 2 days, weeks later, and was still living in the town.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like a riot. So because I seen the story where the sister said that they were back in town and they seen some devils because their parents' family had a hat shop. And they seen some devils wearing their hats from their hat shop when they went back in town, or they went back to living in Black Wall Street area. And so apparently they went back. It wasn't like a perpetual thing, like where it's just like the police are just always here shooting us every day. And we're gonna come if anybody black show up, they're gonna get shot on sight. It wasn't like that. So we could have had a stronger defense. We would have been able to repel that attack. Not say that nobody might not have got taken out because there was some bombs going off, but we would have been able to repel the attack way better if we were more militaristic mindset.
Right.
Where we built, maybe some bunkers or a wall or armed the brothers with guns and things. So that's what the UPK is here for. We got that mindset, so we're gonna do it the right way.
Right.
We're gonna do what the Christian church could never do, which is protect and protect blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Right.
And the brother put Ecclesiastes 7:7, but it's also Ecclesiasticus 12:10. Says, "Never trust thine enemy." But I just want everybody to take this away. Read that last scripture one more time. We're gonna close it out. 62. And then it's so crazy because it said the king went into Zion. I would think like, all right, you let the king in with like 5 or 6 guys or something. It seemed like they let the whole king's army in the damn place. Like that was whose idea was that? That was not according to plan right there. Let's read that verse one more time so we can make sure to always understand. I mean, because obviously we're going to take away all the victories of our brothers and all the good lessons. Right. We also got to see where we went wrong,
right?
Where brothers made the wrong choice, and where we punted, where things went bad. So go ahead, and read it one more time.
Come on. First Maccabees chapter 6, verse 62. Then the king entered into Mount Zion, but when he saw the strength of the place, he brake his oath that he made, and gave commandment to pull down the wall round about.
Right. He break his oath. It's because he's seen the strength of the place. This is why you don't let oppressors in your house. You don't let oppressors in your businesses. You don't let oppressors know your business, know what you got going on. Keep oppressors at 100 feet, man. Never trust thine enemy. And this is a good scripture, man. Of them letting them in. Like, damn, they let the whole army in with this king. Because the king said he wanted to be friends. So, I mean, he wanted to be our friend. Yeah, he killed a whole bunch of people we know and killed our family and killed our people and murdered us. And this whole thing was started by them. But he said, now let's just be friends. It's like a bully in school saying, let's be friends. You know that's not going to end up good. If you're friends with the bully, he's just going to bully you, but as a friend, in a friendship position. Like, hey, man, what's up, man? You're my best friend, man. Yeah, come with me. Nah, I want to go over here. Nah, come with me, man. He's really just bullying you as your friend. So this is a great example. Never trust an enemy. Never become their friends with these people onto any generations. And if you never become their friend, your walls will not be torn down, and you can pass down those walls to your children. You can pass down strength to your children. That's what the scripture said, right?
So that they may have an inheritance.
May have an inheritance, and you'll have strength. So the scripture basically like prophesied that one right there, because it covered the whole thing in that one. I'm passing the class and preaching officer Potter's Eye.
ISUPK security announcements. We're the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to her brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3 and 8 through 10 means tenth in the Hebrew Ma'ashur. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We're currently in the Feast of Dedication, right? It ends on Tuesday. It ends on it started Sunday the 28th, and it's for 8 days, right? And you can read about it in the 4th chapter of Maccabees 52 through 61. All right. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. With that, Imajim, which means to rise, Wapanda Hakadam, means turn and face the east. We're gonna do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Quadash. Ayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakwaka. Taba'ah. Ratazarka. Ayah. Aisha. Baharataza. Kawak. Ayah. Bashamayim. Nathanawa. Lakum. Kal. Yawam. Wasalak Lanawa. Kabawat Lanawa. Kasalak Lanawa. Kabawat Lanawa. Wala'ah. Tabayaranawa. Banasai 1. Abal. Hawashayanawa. Mayan. Rad. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Waha'ala. Watapara. Wa'awalunium. Aman. In English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh. Thy kingdom come. That will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. Prayer for Hakat, the power in Hebrew. Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushai. Baba Kashai. Nathan Lanawa. Hakat. Larapa'ah. Kal Makala. Wakal Madawa. Hakat. Latahar. Hamatazarayim. Hakat. Lahakum. Amapi. Hakat. Our Karawat. Atama Allah. Lagarshan. Bahashem Yahushai. The water of month. In English. Yahweh. In the name Yahushai. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the leper. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. Prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahushai. Wa Miyaka Allah. Wa Alahayim. Mataz Abiyah. Alawap Yahana. Ha Alawapim. Ha Saranyam. Ha Kwatazayim. Ha Kayayim. Wa Hakwati. Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushai. The water of month. In English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yohanan.
Commanding General Yohanan.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
Captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
The anointing prayer in the Hebrew. Yabaraka Yahweh.
Yabaraka Yahweh.
Washamarka.
Washamarka.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Alyaka.
Alyaka.
Wayakanka.
Wayakanka.
Yasha'ah Yahweh.
Washa'ah Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Alyaka.
Alyaka.
Washamlaka.
Wayashamlaka.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bahashim Yahweh Shai.
Bahashim Yahweh Shai.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magun.
Magun.
Agun.
Agun. The Thurman family.
The Thurman family.
The Sutton family.
The Sutton
The
family.
Hill family.
The Hill family.
The Shenny family.
The Shenny
The
family.
Nelson family.
The Nelson family.
And all the children of Israel.
All is short of Israel.
Done.
All is short of Israel.
All the children of Israel.
Done. Bahashim Yahweh Shai.
Bahashim Yahweh Shai.
The water Armand.
The water Armand.
In English, Yahweh bless thee and keep thee.
Yahweh bless thee and keep thee.
Yahweh make his face shine upon thee.
Yahweh make his face shine upon thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
Be gracious unto thee.
Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee.
Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee.
And give thee peace.
Give thee peace.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In the
Shai.
name of Yahweh Shai.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
ISUPK curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed unto Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
Punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against
That
us.
speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Thy prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
The Israelite brothers and the
The
schools.
Israelite brothers and the schools.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
Punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose the treasure.
Shake loose the treasure.
Of the rich of
The
Israel.
rich of Israel.
That refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
To enter into thy
To
sanctuary.
enter into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nations.
And the nations.
And their drug dealers.
And their drug dealers.
The court system.
The court system.
The prison system.
The prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
The Pope.
The Pope.
Islam.
Islam.
Christianity.
Christianity.
Egyptology.
Egyptology.
Militia.
Militia.
Ku Klux
Ku
Klan.
Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation.
Skinheads.
Skinheads.
Posse Comitatus.
Posse Comitatus.
The gay movement.
The gay movement.
The lesbian
The
movement.
lesbian movement.
Spies.
Spies.
Workers of witchcraft.
Workers of witchcraft.
NASA Space Program.
NASA Space Program.
Army.
Army.
Navy.
Navy.
Air Force.
Air Force.
Marines.
Marines.
Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
And the airwaves.
And the airwaves.
The cable access channels.
Cable access channels.
And the radio channels.
And the radio channels.
Convict the spirit
Convict the spirit
of any of thy people
any of thy people
that seek to stop
that
us
seek to stop us
and bring swift destruction to all the heathen
bring swift destruction to all the heathen
that stand in the way
that stand in the way
or try to stop us
or try to stop us
from broadcasting your words
broadcasting your words
throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues.
Let loose all the plagues.
Cause them to go to and fro
Cause them to go to and fro
through the earth and consume them.
through the earth and consume them.
Let the plagues shake
Let the plagues shake
the house of the thief and the
the
murderer.
house of the thief and the murderer.
Let Yahweh Shai,
Let Yahweh Shai,
Michael and Gabriel
Michael and Gabriel
come down with the flying saucers
come down with the flying saucers.
and punish all the heathens
Punish all the heathen
that come up against us
that come up against us
as we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known by all.
Cause to be known by all.
That is the angels that have done
That
it.
it is the angels that have done it.
Cause it to be spread through the media
Cause to be spread through the media
throughout the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake at that coming.
Cause them to shake at that coming.
In the name of Yahweh Shai,
In the name of Yahweh Shai,
thank you always.
thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
Sorry, which means to turn. We're going to face the teacher. Give a courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Imagine, Barak, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Barakatham.
Yahweh, we'll give a courtesy salute to the sisters that may be watching online. Men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Imagine, Barak.
Yahweh Shemar Al-Tham Bashim Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh, class dismissed.